I still remember that night like it happened yesterday. The clock had just struck midnight when I heard the soft sound of footsteps outside my bedroom door. I thought it was just the house settling, or maybe our dog pacing around. But then I heard a small shaky voice. "Dad, are you awake?" It was my 10-year-old son, Noah. I sat up, rubbed my eyes, and saw his little silhouette standing in the doorway. He was clutching his blanket, his face pale under the dim hallway light. Something felt off immediately. It wasn't the kind of scared that comes from a nightmare. This was something else. I tried to keep my voice calm. "Hey, buddy, what's wrong? Did you have a bad dream?" He hesitated, then whispered, "I think Mommy is crying." That caught my attention right away. My wife, Emily, was supposed to be on a business trip in another city that week. My heart skipped. "What do you mean, buddy?" I asked. "She's downstairs," he said. "I heard her talking to someone. She said your name, but she was whispering." At first I didn't believe it. Maybe Noah was confused. Maybe he dreamed it. But something in his eyes, that pure, childlike honesty, made me get up immediately. I told him to stay in bed, and I went downstairs. The house was quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. Then I heard it, the soft sound of a woman's voice coming from the living room. My heart started pounding. I peeked around the corner, and there she was, Emily, sitting on the couch in the dark, her phone glowing in her hands, whispering into it. At first, I felt relief she was home safe. But then, as I took a step closer, I heard her say something that made my whole body go cold. "I miss you already. I wish I could just stay with you tonight." I froze. The sound of her voice was tender, the kind of softness I hadn't heard from her in months. I wanted to believe I was misunderstanding, that she was talking to a friend, maybe even her sister. But then she laughed quietly and said, "He doesn't suspect anything." That was it. My knees almost gave out. All the little things that hadn't made sense for months suddenly clicked. The late work calls, the sudden girls' trips, the way she'd pull away when I tried to hug her. I felt like I was watching my whole world crack open in front of me. I stepped into the living room and said, quietly, "Who doesn't suspect anything, Emily?" She gasped and dropped her phone. For a second, the silence was so heavy it felt like the air was being sucked out of the room. What are you doing up?" she stammered, trying to compose herself. "I should ask you the same thing," I said. Her eyes darted to her phone on the couch, then back to me, and in that moment, she knew. I knew. She didn't even try to deny it. She just sat there, hands shaking, tears forming. "Please," she whispered. "Let me explain." I didn't want to hear it. I couldn't. All I could think about was Noah, my little boy who had woken me up because he heard something was wrong. He'd seen his mother come home secretly in the middle of the night. He'd heard her crying. He was the one who sensed what I was too blind to see. I walked away. I needed air. I went to the backyard and just stood there under the cold night sky, staring at nothing. When she finally came outside, I couldn't even look at her. "How long?" I asked. She hesitated. "A few months." "A few months," I repeated, my voice cracking. "While I was working late shifts trying to pay for the new house. While I thought you were traveling for work." She started crying, saying she never meant for it to happen, that she felt lonely, that we'd grown apart. I'd heard those words before, in other people's stories, never thinking they'd be mine. I told her to leave for the night. I couldn't have her in the same house, not with Noah sleeping upstairs, innocent and confused. She packed a small bag and left without another word. When I went back inside, I saw Noah sitting on the stairs, half awake, tears on his cheeks. He looked at me and asked, "Is Mommy okay?" I forced a smile I didn't feel. "Yeah, buddy, she just needs some time." He nodded and went back to bed, but I could tell he knew more than I wanted him to. That night, after he fell asleep, I sat alone in the living room, the same spot where she had been whispering to someone else. I stared at the dark screen of her phone, wondering how love that once felt so real could disappear so quietly. Over the next few weeks, we talked, we argued, we cried. She admitted everything, that the business trips were weekends with him, a coworker she'd grown close to. She said it wasn't about love, it was about escape. But how do you explain betrayal to a child? How do you explain that the person who kissed him goodnight also broke the family in half? I tried to be strong for Noah. We kept our routines, breakfast together, homework, bedtime stories. But there was always this invisible heaviness in the air. One night, a few weeks later, Noah crawled into my bed and said softly, "Dad, I don't like seeing you sad." I hugged him and said, "I'm not sad, buddy. Just healing." He looked at me with those innocent eyes and said, "You're still my hero." And that broke me all over again. It's been a year now. Emily and I separated. We're civil for Noah's sake, but the love, at least the kind I believed in, is gone. Sometimes I still think about that night. About how my son, my little boy, was the one who woke me up, not just from sleep but from denial. Pain has a strange way of showing up, sometimes in whispers, sometimes in the voice of a child standing in the doorway at midnight. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that truth always finds a way out, even when you're not ready to hear it.